Level 1. The Farmer. You're 11 years old, sitting in a freezing classroom in Pyongyang. The instructor writes a differential equation on the blackboard. You solve it before he finishes. That is your first mistake. You walk home that afternoon, breathless, eager to tell your mother how smart you were. You don't even make it to the stairwell. A green military jeep is idling outside your apartment block. Two men in unmarked olive uniforms are waiting. They don't knock on your door. They don't let you say goodbye. They just put you in the back. You are driven to a restricted military compound on the dark outskirts of the city. Your new home is a concrete bunker with no heating. The only warmth comes from the exhausting whine of 200 scavenged Soviet-era servers stacked in endless rows. The room smells like burning dust, ozone, damp concrete, and the stale sweat of terrified children. There are only boys here. The regime treats this trench like frontline infantry. Girls are diverted to linguistics or honey trap operations. Here, you are just meat for the machine. You study C++, assembly, and network protocols 18 hours a day. Your instructors pace the aisles, repeating one phrase. Your keyboard is your rifle. It is a live fire drill. You have 60 seconds to bypass a simulated firewall while an officer stands over your shoulder. Fail, and your parents lose their residency permits and vanish to the northern coal mines. You don't code for curiosity. You code so your little sister gets rice instead of nothing. A year later, you're shipped across the border to Shenyang, China. You live in a cramped, windowless apartment with 30 other boys from your unit. You sleep in shifts on bare plywood bunks. Your new life is a 22-hour digital sweatshop. You play World of Warcraft. You farm virtual gold and rare items. You sell them on black market forums for Bitcoin. The air reeks of instant noodles, cheap cigarettes, and unwashed bodies. A political officer sits in the corner watching every keystroke. Your daily quota is $300. Miss it, and you don't eat for 24 hours. You are not the foundation of the empire. You are just a tiny cog that keeps the machine earning. You are invisible for now, but you are learning. Level 2. The Predator. You survive the Shenyang sweatshop, 1,000 days of grinding fantasy MMOs without ever missing your $300 quota. You never fell asleep at the terminal. You never tried to skim a single Satoshi of the cartel's crypto for yourself. You proved your discipline. You are a compliant node. You feel older now. They pull you out of the cramped apartment. They move you to a sterile, private room with a dedicated fiber optic line routed straight through Chinese state telecom. They hand you a dossier, a legend. You are no longer a starving North Korean boy. You are Sarah Miller, a 28-year-old blonde headhunter for a boutique U.S. defense recruiter. You spend 3 months building her ghost. You use AI generators to render photos of a woman who doesn't exist, smiling at a coffee shop, hiking in Colorado. You buy aged LinkedIn profiles from Russian brokers to populate her network. You trade favors with other cartel nodes to write glowing professional endorsements for each other. You make Sarah undeniable. Then you cast the net. You log into LinkedIn and target mid-level systems engineers at Boeing, Raytheon, and Lockheed Martin. Men in their 40s, men who feel underpaid and underappreciated. You message them. You ask about their weekend. You remember their kids' soccer scores. You build the illusion of a relationship over 6 weeks. Then comes the bait. Confidential job opportunity. Senior Systems Architect. It is a polished PDF, but embedded inside is a custom malware loader. The moment they double-click it on their office machine in Virginia, a silent script executes in the background. You are in. You don't smash and grab. You establish persistence. You quietly map their internal network. You locate the secure servers holding CAD files for next-generation missile guidance systems. You carve out a hidden backdoor, secure the connection, and pass the access key straight up to the bureau in Pyongyang. The goal isn't virtual gold anymore. It is state-level intellectual property. The outcome is total compromise. The engineer sips his coffee, completely oblivious that he just handed over his country's defense secrets. Your reward for this? A slightly thicker mattress, a room with a window, a piece of real meat in your Sunday meal instead of just injogogi. The machine feeds you just enough to keep you hunting. Level 3. The Broker. You are pulled from the spearfishing desk. 2 men in cheap leather jackets arrive at your room in Shenyang. They pack your single bag. They put you on a midnight flight across the border to Vladivostok, Russia. They drive you to a glass-fronted commercial tower. Inside, it looks like any legitimate IT support floor. Fluorescent lights, ergonomic chairs, cold air conditioning. You sit in a row of 40 other North Korean operators, all working in absolute silence. This is scout duty. You don't target individuals anymore. You target the architecture of the internet itself. Your goal is mass compromise. You command a botnet, an automated army of tens of thousands of infected home routers and small business servers. You write scripts that scan the globe 24 hours a day, rattling every digital doorknob, hunting for open doors. You look for unpatched VPNs, legacy domain controllers, and lazy administrator passwords. You find a hospital network in London, a municipal grid in Texas, a mid-tier crypto exchange in Tokyo. You don't steal the money or deploy the ransomware. You are the digital locksmith. You verify the access, package the credentials, and list them on dark web forums like Exploit or XSS. You sell the keys to Russian ransomware gangs or hand them over to your own heavy hitters back in Pyongyang. The going rate is 100 Monero a pop. You don't keep a single coin. Every transaction flows through a tumbler directly into the regime's master wallet. But your life has changed. You eat hot meals now. Delivery straight to your desk. Real beef, hot Russian dumplings, imported sodas. You are accumulating a small stipend in a local bank account, a few thousand rubles to buy clothes that don't look like state-issued uniforms. You think about the freezing 11-year-old in the concrete bunker. You think about the smell of burning dust. You have come so far. Sitting in this ergonomic chair, controlling thousands of servers across the globe, you feel powerful. You feel like a king of the digital underground. But then you look at the heavy steel door at the exit and the armed Russian guard on the cartel's payroll watching the floor. The illusion shatters. You haven't escaped the machine. You just got promoted to a nicer cell. Level 4, the researcher. You are pulled from the Vladivostok floor. No warning. 2 men from the Ministry of State Security escort you to an Air Koryo military transport. You are flown back to Pyongyang, blindfolded, and driven deep underground into Facility 110. You are elite now. The Bureau's internal metrics show you are in the top 1% of their operational talent. You are too valuable to waste on routine botnets. You are placed in a solitary, white-walled cell. The door locks from the outside. The air is heavily filtered. The fluorescent lights never turn off. You are fed 3 high-calorie meals a day through a slot. You have a terminal, but no internet access. Only isolated read-only servers loaded with raw source code. They call it air gapping, or Biyun Gyolmang. Now, nothing can be traced back to you or your location. You are completely locked off, perfectly positioned to take on anyone or anything you want. Your job is to find 0 days. Fatal flaws in software that the vendors themselves do not know exist. You spend 6 agonizing months staring at millions of lines of assembly code, reverse engineering the latest Windows kernel or industrial control firmware. You spend so long on one job because a true 0 day is a microscopic logic error buried in an ocean of data. It requires absolute, unbroken psychological isolation to find. Finally, you spot it. A privilege escalation bug in a SCADA system, the software that runs Western water treatment plants and power grids. On the open market, a broker like Zerodium would pay $2.5 million in untraceable crypto for this single string of code. It is worth millions because it is an undetectable skeleton key. There is no patch for a vulnerability no one has discovered yet, but having it makes you radioactive. If you try to smuggle it out to sell on the dark web, the internal telemetry monitoring your terminal will flag you instantly. The penalty for stealing state ammunition is a firing squad. So you follow protocol, you hit the secure intercom. Within an hour, the director of Bureau 121, a 2-star general in the Reconnaissance General Bureau, enters your cell. You are high enough up the food chain now that you bypass the mid-level handlers. 0 days are strategic military assets, and the generals take custody of them personally. You hand him the flash drive. You just gave the regime a bomb they can drop on a foreign city's infrastructure whenever they want. In exchange, you are handed a piece of paper. It is a deed. Your family has been moved out of the provinces and into a Pyongyang apartment with indoor plumbing and 24/7 electricity. You receive a medal you are never allowed to wear outside this bunker. The general leaves. The heavy steel door locks again. Your terminal refreshes with a new batch of raw code. You start over. Level 5, the operator. They hand you a forged Malaysian passport and put you on a flight to Macau. You live in a smoky, high-rise hotel suite with 3 other coders and a Ministry of State security handler who never seems to sleep. This is the financial strike cell. You don't steal secrets anymore. You steal sovereign wealth. Your target is the Bangladesh Bank, but the cash isn't in Dhaka. It's sitting in their account at the Federal Reserve in New York. For 11 months, you are a ghost in their network. You don't touch a single account. You just watch. You map the routing protocols. You compromise their SWIFT terminals, the secure backbone of global finance. You even write a custom script to disable the physical printers in the Dhaka office so the duty manager won't hear the confirmation slips. Printing when the vault is emptied, you wait for Thursday evening, February 4th. The bank in Dhaka closes for the weekend. The Federal Reserve in New York is just waking up. It is the perfect blind spot. You launch. 35 transfer orders fly out, requesting a total of $951 million. It works. The Federal Reserve's automated systems accept the forged credentials. 5 transfers clear instantly. $81 million lands in the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation in the Philippines. But then the machine jams. On a transfer for $20 million to a fake NGO in Sri Lanka, you type Shalika Foundation instead of Foundation. A routing clerk at a correspondent bank in Europe spots the typo. They flag the transaction. The global system groans to a halt, freezing the remaining $870 million. The heist of the century stops dead over a single missing vowel. You sit in the hotel room, sweating, waiting for a bullet to the back of the head. Instead, the handler simply nods. He closes your laptop and takes it from you. You don't get a cut of the money. You don't even see it. The $81 million is already being withdrawn by local fixers, stuffed into duffel bags, and washed across baccarat tables in Manila casinos by transnational crime syndicates. From there, it flows directly into the regime's ballistic missile program. You just funded a nuclear deterrent with a keyboard. Your reward is a carton of imported cigarettes, a glass of real scotch, and a one-way plane ticket back to the concrete walls of Pyongyang. Level 6, the architect. You're tired of being a locksmith. You want to be a plague. You are moved to a high-security facility in the Ryungsong district. The director needs liquid Bitcoin, and he needs it in a flood. You take the Eternal Blue exploit, an NSA weapon you mastered in the bunker, and you marry it to a self-propagating worm. You call it WannaCry. You don't target one bank. You target the unpatched world. On May 12, 2017, you hit the Enter key. Within hours, 230,000 computers in 150 countries are locked. You sit in a room with a delayed news feed and watch the global machine break. British NHS hospitals turn away ambulances. FedEx stops moving packages. Every screen on Earth shows a red box demanding $300 in Bitcoin from everyone. The Bitcoin starts flowing, tens of millions of dollars. You watch the dashboard, and for the first time, you do something dangerous. You've learned how the political advisors track the wallets. You find a microscopic lag in the Bureau's multi-sig protocol. You siphon off 0.5%, a rounding error worth $2 million, and you tuck it into a ghost wallet you built in the Bayon Gyolmang. You are now a criminal inside a criminal organization. You have more money than your father could earn in 1,000 lifetimes, but you are sitting in a room that smells like stale cigarette smoke and ozone. You have millions, but you can't buy a single piece of fruit without permission. Level 7, the Drainer. You have graduated to the bleeding edge. You are now part of the Lazarus Group's elite DeFi unit. You don't bother with $300 ransoms anymore. You hunt whales. Your target is the Ronin Bridge. You spend months spearfishing the engineers. You don't want their passwords. You want their validator nodes. You compromise 5 out of 9. You have the keys to the kingdom. In a single 60-second flash loan sequence, you drain $625 million. You watch the Ethereum vanish in real time. The entire blockchain world is screaming, calling you a mastermind. In Pyongyang, you are awarded the Hero of the Republic Medal. The director gives you a luxury apartment with a view of the Ryugyong Hotel and a Japanese SUV. But the paranoia is rotting you. You have $5 million hidden in your private ghost wallets now. You are technically one of the richest men in North Korea, but every time there is a knock on your door, your heart stops. Did the advisors find the rounding error? Is your handler looking at your telemetry? You are a millionaire who is afraid of the dark. You have all the wealth in the world, and yet you are just one internal audit away from a bullet. You start to realize why the others never tried to steal. In this cartel, the only thing more dangerous than being poor is being rich enough to be a threat. Level 8, the Washer. The coins are radioactive. Chainalysis and the FBI have flagged every wallet associated with the bridge heist. Your job is to make $1 billion of stolen Ethereum look like a legitimate tech investment. You don't just use a mixer. You operate a factory of obfuscation. You break the funds into 10,000 microtransactions. You route them through Tornado Cash, swap them into Monero, and bounce them through high-frequency trading bots in Southeast Asia to simulate organic market activity. By the end of the month, the funds emerge as clean venture capital inflows into shell companies in Hong Kong and Singapore. You have successfully laundered the blood off the money, But you've also seen the plumbing. You know the names of the front men and the banks that look the other way. That knowledge makes you a liability. You've made the billion disappear, but now the regime can never let you disappear. You are an institutional secret. Level 9, the commander. You no longer touch a keyboard. You are too valuable to risk on a single exploit. They give you a diplomatic passport and move you to a guarded villa in a friendly third country. Laos, Cambodia, or Vladivostok. You command a guest house of 50 operators. You are their father, their boss, and their executioner. Your work is now purely transactional. You sit in the back of tinted window SUVs, negotiating with transnational crime syndicates. You trade zero-day access for physical smuggling routes. You secure gold bars that never touch a digital ledger. You broker deals for high-end semiconductors that global sanctions have made impossible for the regime to buy. You live in luxury, but you are walking a razor's edge. If your unit misses its annual quota by even 5%, you are recalled. In the Bureau, re-education is a coal mine where life expectancy is measured in months. You buy safety for your family with every gold bar you secure, but you sleep with a pistol under your pillow, knowing your own bodyguards report directly to the Bureau director. Until the night your secure line rings. It isn't the director calling, it is the Ministry of State Security. You are ordered back to Pyongyang immediately. You sit on the military transport plane, sweating through your tailored suit. You are convinced they found the $5 million in ghost wallets you hid years ago. You brace yourself for the firing squad. Instead, you are marched straight into the marble-lined office of the Reconnaissance General Bureau. You aren't the one in trouble. The director is on the Persian rug, stripped of his medals, weeping. 2 armed ministry guards stand over him. He made a fatal miscalculation. He skimmed hard currency from the Supreme Leader's personal offshore fund. He thought the rules didn't apply to him. He thought he was untouchable. The guards drag him out of the room by his collar. He will be executed in a basement before the hour is up. A ministry official picks up the director's cryptographic access token from the mahogany desk. He walks over and presses it into your palm. Then he points to the empty leather chair. The promotion is immediate. The machine cannot afford downtime. Level 10, the director. You are back in Pyongyang, sitting in a marble-lined office inside the Reconnaissance General Bureau compound. You have a direct, encrypted line to the Supreme Leader. You no longer care about individual ransoms. You care about national persistence. You manage the cyber treasury, a black budget account that now exceeds the official state GDP. You decide which American power grid flickers during the next crisis. You decide which South Korean contractor loses its missile schematics. You are the invisible hand that keeps the lights on in the capital, while the rest of the country stumbles in the dark. The FBI has a blank face on a most wanted poster with your old cyber name. The world calls you a criminal, but inside these walls, you are the architect of survival. You have everything: power, wealth, and a hero of the Republic title. But you are a prisoner of the system you perfected. You can never leave. You can never walk in the sun. And as you sign the authorization for the next round of Math Academy intakes, you think about that 11-year-old boy. Somewhere in a freezing classroom in the provinces, a child just solved a differential equation faster than the instructor. The machine is hungry. The cycle begins again.